Well, part of that is they don't like the Catholic thing. Abortion's illegal.
Course,
They don't want that.
Yes.
They were just poor and cheap.
Yeah.
They didn't like work harder. They spent less. I know because my mother was Irish and they would just like get a potato, like grow them in the backyard.
Yes, come
my
on.
mother's like, you don't need any of that. You don't need any money. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Resourceful.
yeah, and
But
that's not, and spent the time with the family and just sat around doing nothing like Italy. Like, I mean, the food isn't good like Italy, but I'm just saying, like, you're not monetizing every last breath
drop
in a place like that. So, yeah.
It-
So, wow. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
yeah. So they are basically they're targeting everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely everybody's being targeted. No one's safe anymore. So they're building a climate of immigrants versus British. Then there's this far right kind of, well, you're Noble, you're brown. You can't be British. You need to go home. Was you born here, lad?
Yeah, exactly. This is home.
I was born here. I was
Yeah.
born. I've been here all of my life. Like, what are we talking about? I'm the third generation.
Yeah.
West Indian or Black British or Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean. All of these terms, Black British is the new term that we're called.
Yeah,
So
it's capital
yes,
though, right? Capital B.
capital, of course, is capital.
Yeah. You got to trademark that. Yeah.
Yes.
We have that too. All of a sudden, like black has to be capitalized, but
Yeah.
white doesn't.
It's
So silly. It's just bad grammar. I'm sick of the bad grammar.
bad
And I don't like
grammar.
labels and they make you check the box,
Yeah,
like, what are you?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not cool.
I used to get into trouble. So when I was, and this is before I woke up. This is when I was a savage, Monica. They used to, for employment, they would say male, female. I'm more than happy to do that. But then they'll start saying, what is your nationality? Okay, I'm British. What is your ethnicity?
Yes, that's super annoying.
What geosocial political terms? I'm supposed to no. And then you'd hand it in and then say, oh, Noble, you've missed out the ethnicity. No, I haven't.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
bearing does that have on the job
Yeah.
application?
They don't like it and they'll say, well, it benefits you, but that's what I like. I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I don't want to think that way. I was raised not even by my parents, but just my environment was absolutely, I mean, it was so taboo to think in terms of stereotypes and racial stuff, really. I mean, people say like, oh, they're racist everywhere. I mean, I still to this minute, like, can't think like that. And when I hear that the whole world has labels everything, puts everything in terms of your sexuality, your race, blah, blah, blah. I mean, okay, so maybe it's like a reverse thing and it's supposed to be good, but I just don't like that. I was not taught that way. And individual rights are going out the window. So like Trump does not champion the Bill of Rights.
No.
He champions something else. And I'm like, don't forget, that's the difference maker. And that's why I was saying that about like bringing Sharia law or whatever, but the structure of a morality at the top rather than these objective laws. The empire does not like the compromises it has made with the Bill of Rights, the Magna Carta. Like they don't like, they made those compromises and they are doing everything they can to push those down. Yeah.
Yes. Totally.
And it starts with individual. It's everything from like 3 strikes, you're out rules here. Like you have to go to jail for a certain amount of time. That's unconstitutional. You have a right to a jury trial for every single thing. And even like committing people mentally without a jury trial, they should have a jury trial, a unanimous. That is my requirement for everything. And that is individual. Every single person gets that should have that kind of trial and not you're good because you're black, you're bad because you're black. I don't want any of it.
None of it. It's about equality. How about just standard equality? You've done something bad. Oh, I don't care who you are. I don't care how
under the
much.
law, equality under the law, not in outcome, not in preferences. I don't want to have what you have because I don't want to make the same choices you're making. Equality under the law.
I remember when that 3 strikes came out. You can correct me if I'm wrong because I'm talking from a UK lens. A long time ago. First person was a black male for stealing a pizza, was it?
Probably, yeah. That's the thing. Like the littlest thing that you do puts you in jail for 20 years later. There are stories like this. So some guy was like a little petty thief. 20 years later, something that qualified as criminal, which
Yeah.
some of these things aren't even like a domestic dispute or whatever. Some of those
Yes.
things, it's
It's
really
borderline.
subjective. Yeah, how
Mm.
you do it. Yeah, that's why every single thing needs a jury trial. And I don't even think there should be plea bargains because that's what allows
Oh
this
yeah.
proliferation of
Exactly.
crimes and fake crimes.
Yes.
Look, you've got to answer for this process. And this process was put in place because it wasn't like 99% of the
Oh
people
no.
have an infraction against them. It wasn't like that. It was like,
Yeah.
thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. It's
Mm.
basically the whole thing.
Yes.
And yeah, it just so the whole it's absolutely upside down and corrupted. And I find this labeling, this checking boxes to say something about yourself
Mhm.
is really going in the wrong direction for everybody.
But they've lulled it, as I said initially, Monica, they've lulled everybody into a sleep. They're literally asleep. There's zombies walking
Yeah.
around now, and they're not going to
And they
bite you.
make promises. They make promises to you. You don't have to be asleep. You just have to know what your self-interest is. Well, if I check this box and that gets a preference, so now when kids are applying to school, they always have to, if they can possibly check a box, otherwise they
Yeah.
just won't get in
Mm.
because now more than enough people check, like
I
90%
know.
of the people check boxes.
Yes.
And that so it makes it useless anyway. And I don't even believe equality of like business opportunity. Just have just laws. Just have just laws. Just have everybody treated the same. But now you have regulations. The regulations go and favor one business over another. I don't want any of that. They have
Yeah.
minority businesses get favored. Then people
Yeah.
like find a minority. It's like carpet bagging. Then you put this person up to just
Indeed.
to collect a check. The whole thing is corruption. We've been through it before.
Cycles of it.
Don't forget it. Yeah.
Cycles of it. They'll go builders. For 10 years, we'll let the builders, and the laborers,
Yeah.
they can prosper. Then we'll
Yes.
crash that market, and then we'll give it to the tech industry, and then we'll crash that, and then we'll give
Yes,
it to
that I remember
flipping.
that. Yeah. That is the progression. And but the what you didn't mention is that on the way out of those builders, I remember talking to one guy at the end of that 10-year
Mm.
thing, they had this like incentive program to buy new equipment. I
Oh
think it was a
yes, to put
government
them
thing.
into debt.
Yes.
Yes.
So they all got this super low debt, which they could not pay for at all.
Yes.
At all. And yeah,
Yes.
it was really sick. It was
The
really sick.
dragnets, the dragnet. This
Yeah.
is what I mean by they've lulled the people into sleep. They're in REM,
Yeah.
rapid eye
Yeah.
movement. Nothing is actually being. It's auto-programmed character. We're going, we're flowing. You can't, as I say, going back to the new laws. So is it called the hate speech law? I think they've actually dubbed it that, the hate speech law or something. So we've got that. We've got the online child safety bill, which sounds like okay.
Yeah.
We're going to
Yeah, that
protect
sounds good.
children. We're going to protect children. I love it because we do need to protect the children. The children are being targeted. We have disgusting people, male and female out there, in very high positions of power, very high positions of power. We have we have I mean the internet's been lit now for months now, especially of recent with the diddler and
Oh, yes.
another
Isn't that
black male,
crazy? Yeah.
Monica,
Yeah,
another black
why?
male.
Why now?
Why
I told
now?
there's always an answer to that question. And people
Why?
are just fascinated with the details and I won't even look at it
Yeah.
because I don't definitely there for a reason. They want me to look at it. Not looking at it.
Yes. Yes. Distraction. And again, it's to distract and it's again to put your view again. So depending on where you on, what side of the pond you are, with black men, these black
Yeah.
males, they're running around with machetes, they're trying to kill each other. These black males, they're riding around on mopeds and stealing phones. These black males are going into dance studios and killing children. We've got the diddler over there in America, and he's got baby oil and he's beating up women in hotels and he's paying people off. He may have killed Tupac. There is for quite some time, and I've noticed this year they've really ramped up, Monica. All
Yeah.
every kind of everywhere you look, there's a black male doing something utterly disgusting or being accused of something disgusting and apart, and then everyone's jumping on it. Jay-Z now. Oh, he's this woman's come out 20 plus years later, 13 years of age. She's saying she's got autism or something. Who on earth is having a 13-year-old child with a mental disorder
Yeah.
traveling 500, five odd Rochester, New York to New York, wandering around on her own, 13 years of age, I'll reiterate, with a mental disorder or impairments, running around to limo drivers. I want to meet Puff Daddy. And one of them saying, you know what?
Oh yeah,
You're
gotcha. Got you covered.
exactly, yeah, man. Don't worry
And
about
think
that.
of who they take out. So Bill Cosby,
Go,
I don't know if
come
you
on,
know my views about Bill Cosby. He absolutely they violated his constitutional
come
rights like
on.
five different
Of
ways.
course.
He, by the way, people act like he gave them roofies. Do you know what he gave them?
It was Spanish Fly, wasn't it? Was it
Quaaludes.
Quaaludes even now, is it? Yes, yes.
So here's my point. People will fuck you for a Quaalude. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They took
Yes.
them. I know that's like blunt and coarse, but
Yes.
there's a difference.
At
He
that
was saved
time.
a Quaalude. People loved Quaaludes. You wouldn't
Yeah.
believe they write songs about Quaaludes.
Mm,
They write songs about Quaaludes. He
yes.
saved them. He stockpiled them.
Mm,
And I'm not saying that he didn't he wasn't slimy what he did and blah blah
yes.
blah, but the woman who
I know.
ultimately got him in jail, she was dismissed. She was overheard saying she was going to
Yes.
set him up. They wouldn't
Yeah.
pull that all that stuff, all that stuff. They were he had paid her off
Dirty.
already, all that. So
Yes.
they got took care of him, and he was a guy who said wasn't some kind of like white apologist.
No.
He was didn't like whitey, but he would say stuff like speak English,
Yes.
pull your pants up and
Exactly.
don't let them exploit you like this. And another one, really, I did not understand this, but those same guys, Scott and William, the guy from York, are saying Michael Jackson. I did
Oh.
not realize 100%. I think he was innocent and murdered.
Oh,
Yeah,
Monica.
I didn't know that. Does everybody know
Ma
that? Am I the last person to know?
Well, it's because of all of the propaganda. Martin Bashir, that Asian little devil, that tanned devil, making that hit piece on him. I mean, look,
Oh.
let's
I
be
never went back
honest
into it, but he was a guy like one of the last songs he did. It's like they don't care about us or
about
something like some
us.
really crazy truth to power kind of thing.
Mm.
Like he was really yeah. And I have
He has
one more story to tell you, but keep going.
he has so
Back
many,
up.
so many truths in regards to his songs. Not necessarily his newer songs, but his old songs. He was
And what a
dropping
talent. I mean, what a
exactly.
powerful
the
influencer.
mindset, the mindset. So he's on. You can go back and listen to some of his interviews. I'm not just a musician. I'm a good businessman. And you know how
Yeah.
much of a good businessman Mr. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was?
Yeah.
That he purchased the Beatles catalog and a
Smart.
whole host of other. He was one of the first investors into DreamWorks, Monica. Do you remember DreamWorks, the
Oh,
cartoon?
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's big money.
Big money, big money.
You know what I
Marvel,
found out? Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. No, and
well,
they say that he was broke, that he pissed all his
and
money
this is
away
the
building
thing.
Neverland.
This is
Yeah.
the thing. He.
That's terrible.
What we see now with the Avengers and Black Panther and all that movie franchise. He it's only of recent come to my remembrance, but Piers Morgan, Joe Jackson, and somebody else were having a conversation, and he was saying, yeah, Michael Jackson was in talks to buy all of that stuff and to split them up and to make merchandise, to do the films, to do series, to do theme parks. Disney goes and buys that,
Oh
and
my
they're doing
gosh.
the
And did it
exact
all.
yeah.
Wow. Well, one other person I always refer to is they didn't kill Jesse Jackson. They killed Malcolm X.
No,
And do you know what happened to his descendants? I couldn't believe this. I was doing a show on the son of Sam, who was in Yonkers,
yes,
son of Sam.
yes.
And I knew a bus driver, someone I'm related to actually back in the day was a bus driver in Yonkers and used to drive. And I always knew this, Betty Shabazz's kids. Betty
Yes.
Shabazz was Malcolm X's
Wife.
widow.
Yes.
Yes. So I was like, wow, that's weird. She said, yeah, she lived right on that street, right near those guys. And I just started looking into it. I thought, I wonder if there was any kind of they knew
Mm.
each other. I don't know. Who knows? I just look at stuff. So unrelated to that, uh, um he one of his daughters, her name was Kubla, like Kubla Khan,
Yeah.
Kubla, and the FBI set her up to kill, I think, Elijah Muhammad, whoever it was who really killed Malcolm X.
Oh my gosh.
So this is what they did. They set her, they entrapped her to try to kill him, which of course she didn't succeed in doing, but she did end up going to jail, I think, for it. And while I believe this is a story, it's been a while since I'd have to reread, but I'm pretty sure this is what happened. So they put her in jail for it. They put her in jail, those motherfuckers.
What?
And so her son, who was troubled, she had a 12-year-old son,
Yeah,
had to go live with grandma, Betty Shabazz. So he was mad at her for disciplining him, I
of
guess.
course.
And he wanted to scare her, so he lit a fire in the hallway. But
Oh
he knew
my.
there was a back stairs, so he wasn't trying to kill her. He lit a fire in the hallway. She thought he was still in the house. So she went through the fire to save him, and she died a miserable death a
Oh,
week in the burn unit before she finally gave up the ghost. This kid had to go to juvie, whatever. He was already like not
yeah.
right, but
Hmm.
but being separated from his mother really put him over the edge. And
Yeah.
then he was murdered like when he was 30 or something. So this is the legacy of Malcolm X. And they didn't just let it go. They had to get his daughter entrapped for the thing that
I
they
had
did.
no
Nobody, I
idea
never
about
heard
that.
anybody heard that story. I stumbled upon it in Wiki because I was just trying to find
What?
what street they lived on. Yeah. So that's how bad it goes. Like there will be no legacy. Like John
Legacy.
F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
Like there will be
Yeah.
nothing. It's like the czar. They kill all the children. But why do you think and I think we saw like in Cuba,
Mm.
they have evidence that the CIA tried to plant
Oh yeah.
like dirty kind of hip hop
Yes.
down there to
Yes.
subvert the culture. Why do you think the purpose and the mechanism both? So why are they doing it and how are they doing it? Uh, just keeping the black population in America isolated and dysfunctional, because to me the perfect time for us to have some unity
Yeah.
is some
Yeah.
of these identity issues that are coming up around
Exactly.
immigration, around
Yes.
trans. I'm like, these are
Yes.
Americans. Most of
Yes.
them have been here longer
Of
than
come
you
on.
have.
Yes.
So what's the, just in a nutshell, maybe I'm stupid and I just need the sentence, so why are they doing it and how are they doing it?
Me entertainments, media, just like they do
Right.
everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah, right,
And
right, sure.
they're incentivized to perpetuate it. So you get paid agents. Here's a simplistic version of it. The
Yeah.
plot, the plan, paid agents. Paid agents come and infiltrate a up and
Hmm.
coming movement, which was hip hop,
Hmm.
rap, drill, all that kind of subgenres of it. And then we have people now who are seeing, we have music executives, mu Universal Music Group, and all of these people, Sony, blah, 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 blah. Wait a minute. Rap has been the number one selling genre for 20 something plus years.
Yeah.
Okay, we help do that. We see the power. We can see people who have no affiliation to hip hop are using the terminology. They're using where the fashion is now turning to a
I
hip hop
know.
fashion. So we can monetize this further and we can program these youth even further. We can destroy them even further. We can self-perpetuate it by just putting it out there. The seed will then grow because they'll water it and they'll tender to it because they see the rewards. The reward is the bag, as they call it now, Monica. They get in the bag, and if it's not the bag, they get in the currency in regards to the clicks, the interactions online for being an absolute whore, for being an absolute
Yeah.
devil, for being the worst
And
person you could ever be.
the drugs have long been a thing. And I know that they like literally travel with these musical groups, but you take out the education, tell people that it's uncool to have a name
Mm.
that, an American name, or to speak regular English,
English.
and they can't function economically. Like that's what I always said about like Denmark, whatever, has a big Islamic population that's multiple generations of
Mhm.
not working. And I
Mm,
say it's because once you don't have them work, they don't learn the language, they don't learn the dress, they don't, they eat
yes.
food that might like repel other people. You have to make sure they're economic. Once you have people who are plugged into the economy,
Economy,
they
exactly.
they
And feel a
will
part of it.
yeah, they'll integrate. You can't even
Yes.
help it. So a good way to keep them out of that is to make sure they can't do that and also give them their own little micro economy,
An
which is
economy.
drugs, which is the drugs.
Yes.
And
Which then
and then
feeds
they never
what
have to. Yeah,
and then that what does that do? That feeds the criminal
of
element within that
course.
community.
And the
And then
addiction.
the addiction, and then where does that filter down? It filters down to the drug community
Yes.
centers, the charities, these
Oh, that's a good point. This is kind of a thought I had had, but you're bringing it home. Here's the thing. Um, Jacques Ellul, who wrote Propaganda and a bunch of other things,
Mhm.
and Ted Kaczynski draws for him a bit.
Yes.
Jacques Ellul said about the World War II in America, it said we executed something called obsessional propaganda. You didn't have ration problems, like you had cows and stuff. You had
Indeed.
no problem with that.
Yeah.
But we made you get ration tickets so that you were eager for victory in this war, so that you knew it was there. So
Mm.
obsessional propaganda. And for us, that's why they have these, in my opinion, that's why they have these homeless problems, is they want them for because we
Of
have
course.
our taxes are like half. You know what I mean? We have $10
Yeah.
trillion or
Yeah.
whatever to spend,
Yeah.
and we could fix it
Of
immediately.
course.
Uh, but they leave them on the street like that. So you think I need
Yeah.
to pay my taxes. Like
Yes.
this is what the taxes are
It's
for.
for. Yeah, this is
Yeah, and
yeah,
safety, your safety. Then you
exactly.
see them, you
Yeah.
see the thugs running around. Yeah.
Yes. This is
So,
this is
yeah.
why we got the police departments. This is why we got the
Yeah.
sheriffs. This is why we got the fire.
And you
This is
can
why.
tell by looking at them, like the race is important
Yeah.
because, like that, you said, like they put the young black
Yes.
guy up there. It's like this is the face of the
Of
immigrant terror, of the
ex
Muslim immigrant terror against your
yes.
young girls.
Indeed. And the
Yes.
rhetoric, Monica, the
Yes.
rhetoric. I mean, I don't think this is not true, but I think again, you remember what I said about the paid agents and the people who they're not getting paid, but they can see that there's currency in falling in line with this narrative. So there's lots of white women's complaining online. My daughter can't go out anywhere anymore because she's getting harassed by these immigrants. Now, I would say that there is my cup overfloweth. So I would say there's a small percentage of that happening. But the amount of videos that you're seeing and
Yeah.
people are reposting, it's like it's everywhere. So from an outside
Yeah.
lens, you think England, you can't be a
Yeah.
woman. A European woman in England, you're unsafe. You're going to be attacked. You're going to be raped. No,
Yeah.
that's not the
It's like
case.
January 6th. There were literally millions of hours of video that showed nothing.
Mm,
And they said, if you were there, we're coming to your house. So
yeah.
everybody took their videos down. So there are no videos of normal. There's only the fake videos that are being
Yes.
put up. But what about, so do you think that culturally the immigrant communities are bringing a culture that is so different it's bound to create real danger, or
That's
do
the
you feel
purpose.
like it's fostered? Because here we have a black culture, but they've been in America for all this time, so maybe it's
It
a continuous thing. I don't understand the cultural aspect.
it's well, the cultural aspect is that well, let's look at the most basic things.
Yeah.
For some, again, there's two ways to look at it. Let's use the majority. The majority, they're coming to England, Monica, and they can speak 3+ languages. They have qualifications up the wazoo.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
They are dedicated. They're here to enrich their life. If they're not there with their families, they're here to make a life, make a foundation, and bring their children and family over. That is the majority of the people that are coming over who are fleeing with passports, without passports. That's what's
Hmm.
happening. Then you've got 40% who they have nothing about them except for wickedness. And let's see what I can get. I've seen the videos. Look, they've got U
Yeah.
is it UN or WEF, whoever. You've got those
Mhm.
little agencies set up giving flyers out saying this is the best way to cross. And when you get to
Oh
England,
yeah. Oh
you're gonna
yeah.
get £800 on a thing.
Yeah.
If you just gotta say this, make sure if you're coming in
It's
on a
called the
plane,
human rights industry. Yeah, yeah, it's
yes,
messed up. And they know where they're going and they tell specific people in
this, yeah,
specific pockets to go to a
yes,
specific place. That's why we
place,
have Somalians in Minneapolis where it
yeah,
is freezing. Why would you ever do that? Like give us the Ukrainians. Don't give us the Somalians and make the Somalians go to
a
Florida where it's
warmer
hot.
place, yes, a
Nobody,
warmer.
they don't want, nobody wants this. You're looking for trouble. You're looking for unhappy people with no
It's
skills.
yes. So yeah,
Yeah, so
it's
it's meant to, so they have, yeah, there's, of course, there's different, assholes come in every color, as they say.
this is the point.
So, yeah, they can come in any way, but I don't like, and I've seen the documentation that they like to enhance dysfunctional subcultures. They,
Oh
meaning, in this case, it
yes.
was a Defense Department memo written by a private think tank, but it said this is how we enhance it with memes or
Oh
with memetics. And I'm not sure if it meant like memes or mime. Memetic can be
yeah,
either thing,
of
M-I-M,
course.
like a
Yes.
copying, or
Yes.
M-E-M. And I know
I
that
think
was
it's
another
both.
thing.
I would
Yeah,
say it was both. But
yeah,
so as I said, my cup overflows. I gave you the positives and the negative is
yeah.
those is the ones who are coming and are literally a drain on society.
Hmm.
They're coming and they're getting the free accommodation. They're getting subsidized, but I'm paying lots of taxes.
Yeah.
We're all paying lots of taxes here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Lots of taxes. So we're
Lots.
paying for this. And then we look around, and if you go to certain areas, especially in Birmingham, I love Birmingham, but they've destroyed it, Monica. You will go to you, deprived areas, should we say, inner city areas. And there's mattresses on the corners of the road, big piles of rubbish, graffiti everywhere, broken
Yeah.
down cars. It's just, it's depressing. People, you stop at a traffic light or a stoplight, as y'all would say, and there's a
Yeah.
person there with a harmonica or an organ or something. And at the best, at the worst, they'll be there with a cup, a McDonald's cup, walking in the middle of the road, which is illegal. It's not jaywalking, but it's you're
Yeah.
causing a hazard on the highway.
Yes.
And they'll come up and they'll knock on your window. If you're in
Ooh,
a
I don't like
certain,
that.
it's as a woman as well, as a woman. So at certain parts, they'll come with water and a squeegee, like in the 80s, like in the 80s, and you stop at a sign and there's
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's terrible.
so
It's
they're doing
gross.
so that's what the negative. This is what people are unhappy with is that element. Go into your town center and they're all on spice or mamba or even harder drugs, heroin or cocaine, stone out their heads, violent sometimes. Some of them have got weapons. Think about them. They're coming from war-torn countries. They're coming to
Yeah.
places where they're conflicts. They were potentially former soldiers,
Yeah.
and they're in England where we're not harsh like that. If you go through the systems, then we'll incarcerate you. But it's a
Yeah.
holiday camp. England
Yeah,
is a
yeah, yeah.
holiday camp.
No, I actually think that depending on where you're going, what you're doing, I mean, jail, there was a guy, it's a long story, but it was the thing that the psyop that launched Trump's original campaign in
Oh,
2015, and that's how I knew. It was called the Kate Steinle shooting. It was in San Francisco. People don't even remember it. But they pinned it on an immigrant who definitely was set up. He couldn't even remember it. He was on drugs. The public defender who defended him was also a movie maker and was making a movie about him, and he died
what?
under really screwed up circumstances. But this immigrant was a chronic, came over, he had mental illness, and he just wanted to go to jail in America. He just wanted to live in the jail in America.
Wow.
And he just kept coming over. And they would pick him up and he would go to jail. When he would get out, he would cross, he would come back over. They put him in jail like 5 years in a stint. And and it's because he was just mentally ill and he
Yeah.
needed a place to live.
Yes.
I'm not saying that most prisons are like that, but I would not be surprised if there are prisons that are better to live in than some of the places people are coming from.
Oh, well, it goes without saying. It got food, clothing, and
Here,
shelter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
three squares and a cot.
this is it. This is it.
They're allowed to read. I mean, every once in a while, I'm like, can you do like 2 weeks? Can I just swap out? Like the soldiers,
A boot camp.
the prince would like get you to, or the knight would get you to do his service for a couple of, like, I'll
Yes.
do your service for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. It's another thing. It's a total another experience and another dimension when you think about that.